Hey everybody, it's Gunpla. Welcome back to my channel. I hope all of you guys have been doing fantastic. Today I have a pretty exciting review. I know it's not Gundam or Gunpla, so some of you guys may not like this, but I've always wanted to build my own Medabot kit, and I have been eyeing this kit for such a long time, and you guys gave me feedback on my Instagram when I had asked, you know, would you guys like to see me review this kit? And most of you answered yes, a few of you answered no. So when I was younger, I was actually really into Medabots. I collected like these little figurines that you can kind of swap out parts and interchange like different arms and torsos and heads. I don't remember what they were called, but I collected a whole bunch. I mean, I was obsessed with the Medabots. I watched the anime. I never got to play the Game Boy Advance game, right? I think it came on GBA. But I know Nintendo produced some games for the Game Boy. I unfortunately didn't get to play those, and I think there's even a manga. I don't remember. This was many moons ago. And I actually did build like the first line of model kits that they released, and I'm trying to remember. Hopefully I can find a picture and I can put them right here. But I do remember there's a whole inner frame and there were some metal parts. But I had Metabee. I had Rokoshu, is that what? He's a white one with kind of like the sphincters on his head. I want to call them little claws. And then there was another one that had kind of like, not hair, but like a little piece here. Again, this is a long time ago. But I had all three of those models, I believe, when I was younger. And I remember really enjoying building them. So I was like, you know, let me go down memory lane and dabble my hands into Medabots. So this is the box you guys can see here. I really actually like this box art. I think it's really cute. Here are the sides. So pretty cool. Unfortunately, no information in English, so I can't really read off to you too much about this. So yeah, most of this is all in Japanese. Some of the other ones that have come out in this line. This is the Rokushoga I think that I'm talking about. I don't know who that one is, and I don't know who that one is. So it's not the other one I'm talking to you guys about. But overall, pretty cute box art. So that is pretty much it. Now, before I continue, because you guys know I love to ramble, let me show you guys the review. Alright, so here is the manual for the Medabot. Let's take a quick peek at the inside. Everything is in Japanese, no English instructions, unfortunately. And here is the colored section with the pose change right here and the back of the manual. You do get 4 different sets of eyes, which is really awesome because I love how these eyes are so expressive and they can kind of really change the face of the model. In terms of the hands, you do get 6 different options, which is really nice. And also these obviously are not articulated, which is what I prefer honestly in models. I don't like having fully movable hands and digits because they always pop off on me. Now what's really cool is you get 5 of these little comic book bubbles is what I want to call them. They're really interesting. Unfortunately, you have to cut these out on your own, so you can kind of see where I messed up a little bit on the cutting. You do get a blank one. This is like the rest of the cardboard or really thick paper that was left over. So I guess you can kind of make your own. And this is the display stand that you get to display the little comic book bubble text right next to the model. Okay, so here is the figure all snapped and put together. Now let us take a closer look at the articulation of this kit. Now off the bat, I will say that the biggest downside with the joints on here is that they pop off all the time, like very frequently, so that can be annoying. So you might see that while I move around his stuff. So let's start off with the head. Here, there's absolutely no articulation. It is fixed together. The head, though, you can do a full 360 all the way around. And it can go up, down, side to side. So it definitely has a lot of range of motion. So these things here on the shoulders, they are fully articulated so they can swivel all the way around, go up, down, and pretty much go in any direction that you would want them to. And here in the back, this will flap down. And here you have an inside with the little medallion. Here, the little cannons on the chest as well are articulated so they can swivel into any direction that you would like. Now in terms of the shoulder, these don't have that much articulation. They can go forward about, see, and it popped out. They can't go forward too much, so pretty much that's as forward as they'll be able to get. Unlike, you know, your newer high grades in here. It goes right in there. You know, sometimes there's like an extra part in there and it will allow the shoulder to come out further, but unfortunately this one it does not. However, it can do a full, pop that again, a full 360. And that's basically it for the shoulder. Now for the arm on this guy, he is able, it popped off. It can do a night, I'm going to carefully do it this time. It can do a 90 degree turn right there, as you can see. Hopefully it's not gonna pop off all the way around, just like that. But again, you just have to be careful because this, as you can see, that little elbow joint, it tends to pop out all the freaking time. So here at the shoulder as well, there's a little bit of a hinge up there, so you can move this in and out. And this will allow the arm to kind of come out a little further. Here, there's no articulation, but there is at the hand. Now let's take a look at the lower waist here at the skirt. Swivel it to the right or left. Now here for the lower leg, you kind of do see the peg here somewhat exposed. I'm not really a big fan of how that looks, but whatever. So the leg is able, the leg can come out about that far before it will pop out. So in here, you are able to swivel this all the way around. At the knee, there's also a hinge in there, so you can push it that far back, although honestly this looks really weird, so I would advise against that. Here for the lower leg, that can kick out a little bit, and this also can turn, and that is pretty much it in terms of the articulation. As you guys can see, it's not the best. All right, so let's take a quick peek at a size comparison so you guys can see how big or how small this figure is. All right, so here he is standing to a Master Grade RX 3.0. And there he is standing next to your standard high grade. So again, not a humongous kit, but still pretty decent size. So one of the things that kind of really bothered me about this kit is, yes, the articulation is not the best. And the fact that the joints are constantly popping off, it's extremely frustrating, especially when you are trying to pose this guy and having the shoulder, elbow, leg come off every 2 seconds. It's extremely annoying. It makes me not even want to touch this guy ever again. Another drawback is the seam lines. They're kind of annoying. They're, especially the ones on the front, they're extremely visible. But again, that's just some work that you can fix that, but I just kind of wish they would have hidden them a little bit better. The kit does have nub marks as well, but again, that one's a little bit easier to fix. You can always kind of stand them down, buff them out, and they're not so noticeable compared to the seam lines. And then of course, this kit is missing some pizzazz, as I would like to call it. There's not a lot of surface detail. There's no color separation. It's just the same shade of yellow, the same shade of white. It would have been nice had there been more panel lines, some things to kind of like spice up the kit. I know they were, you know, this is pretty, from what I remember seeing on like Google Images or whatever of the Medabot franchise. So this seems to be somewhat pretty close to the source material. So I don't know if that's what their intention was, but I kind of do wish they would have made it, you know, somewhat more interesting. Like for instance, the Digimon kits that came out, those have so much detail and they're so cool. I'm not saying that this guy isn't cool, but it would have been nice to have some more surface detail just to kind of spice it up just a little bit. So now to change him into, I'm gonna call it the fighting mode, you have to pull this down, pops out like that. And then you kind of push this out. Oh, I'm just gonna take it off. It'll probably be easier this way. And then you swivel this around so it looks like this. And you kind of push this back so it looks like that. And you turn this to the side. So this is what your result should look like. Now for the arm, you're actually going to pop this piece out. You're going to remove this part right here. You're going to take off the hand, as you do not need these. And you're also going to remove this kind of arm cannon right here. And then you're going to need these 2 additional pieces right here. And what you're going to do is you're going to take this one that you popped off, and then you're going to put it on the end right here. Swivel it out facing that direction. Then you're going to take this part right here and pop it into this hole. So it's going to look just like that. Kind of like a leg, maybe ish. I guess that looks, I don't know. This does not look like a leg, excuse me. You're going to take the remainder of the arm, pop this little portion off right here. Then you insert this one. It's going to pop on just like that. And then you are going to take a little white piece that you popped off. It's going to go into the hole right here. And then it's going to go into this hole right there. And it's going to look just like that. Okay, and now for the head, all you gotta do is kind of lift it up a little bit and push back like that. Now to put everything together, we're going to attach the legs. We are attaching the legs. Because this has been a nightmare of a review to film. All right, after 10 minutes of fiddling with this, it is finally completed, and I'm not gonna lie, it's I'm not digging this design. It's pretty fugly. I'm just not a fan. But you know, from the front it doesn't look bad. But then as soon as you kind of start to see all this, it's just like, oh no. But from here it doesn't look that bad, right guys? I definitely prefer the other version. And now I'm going to have to spend another 10 minutes to retransform this guy. So, final thoughts on this kit. I do like it. I honestly really like the proportions. I like the kit. It was fun to build it, so that's an important thing. Did I enjoy building it? I did. As you guys might have sensed or seen during the review, the joints, the joints are a major problem with this kit. So that honestly is a big damper on this kit, because it's just the constant popping off of the arms, the legs, the knee. It's like beyond aggravating. Like I don't have a kit that I've struggled this much with. So that is a huge negative for me, but I don't play with my kit. So it's like a one and done. I'm going to pose it, put it in the display case and not touch it ever again. So is it that much of a drawback? It's hard to say. If you're constantly moving and posing, then yes, it would be definitely really annoying, or you do a lot of photography, then that's an issue that you're going to have to encounter a lot more than like I would, right? And then like I mentioned earlier, the lack of surface detail, lack of panel lines, but the biggest thing for me is definitely the joints. So overall, do I advise you guys to try this kit out? I think so. I think I recommend it. I would rather get this over like the Evangelion crawfish or the giant Pokemon Magikarp that I built. I'd rather spend the $45 on this than the other 2 things. So, right? That says a lot. So all in all, I do recommend this if you're trying to experiment with, you know, different kits aside from just building Gunpla. I definitely will probably be getting the other ones as well, just to add to the collection. But anyways, that's it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know down in the comments, should I explore into, you know, dabble my feet into other types of model kits, or, you know, would you guys rather just me review strictly Gunpla items? So let me know, because you know, I kind of figure out what next to buy or what not to buy to review for you guys. But again, that is it for today's video, and I'll see you guys around for the next one. Adios. So a huge thank you to all the people on my Patreon for always supporting me, and a special thank you to all my ultimate fans who are Alphonse, BibloJack4, Chris Wright, David Sikora, Hassan Bass, Jason Franklin Fergerger, Jamison Willis, Jesse Uli, Madi, Michael Lyons, Michael Lawrence, Vertable20, and Wes Jones. Thank you guys so much for all the support.